Good day, and welcome to today's Rekor Systems webcast as part of the Planet MicroCap Showcase. It is now my pleasure to turn the floor over to your host, President and CEO Robert Berman of Rekor Systems.
Thank you. Hey, good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us here today to learn a little bit about Rekor. And we're going to do our best not to impose death by PowerPoint, and we'll see if we can get through this deck fairly quickly and leave a few minutes for Q&A. We'd like to thank Robert Kraft and Stock News Now for putting on this conference. It's great. We've done it. This is our second time, so enjoy being here. So with that, we'll turn to the deck. And my colleague, our CFO, Eyal Hen, is joining me, and he's handling the deck. So we are looking, I believe, at the disclosure statement. Eyal, in slide 2. Okay. So I can't see which slide we're on. Are we on 2?
Now slide 3.
Okay, so on 3. All right, so you all saw the disclosure statement, and you know we have to pose that safe harbor. You all know what it is. In any event, so Rekor is a software and services platform. It provides multiple solutions to a global market, and we sit at the nexus of intelligent roadways, smart cities, the Internet of Things, and deliver actionable intelligence for both commercial and governmental entities. Next slide. So some of the marquee deals that we've done, Hyundai uses our technology for an app they developed for their customers to know whether or not there's a safety recall on their vehicle. And we're working on a solution for MasterCard, who is developing a new technology for QSR or drive-through restaurants. And it's in pilot in a number of restaurants here in the U.S., and they hope to penetrate the fast food industry with it, and it's pretty exciting. We're one of a few technology providers in the total solution they have, and we were thrilled to be chosen by them. We also have a global market. You see there, Monterrey, Mexico. We've got several thousand cameras down there. We have customers in over 80 countries now, and we've got a global footprint, so we'll move on. So a little bit about our technology. Our tech stack is quite unique. We start with video analytics on the front end. It all started back a few years ago with vehicle recognition. But if you think about machine learning and your primary algorithm using video analytics, there's a lot you can do. It's just the questions that you want to ask. And from there, it's how we transfer, store, share, and maintain data. And then on the back end, we have a data management system that's multi-tenant, multi-scale, that's open architecture that allows us to tie into other databases that gives us the ability to provide real-time intelligence for customers related to traffic analytics, public safety, and things of that nature. We have a number of patents. Some of our algorithms are trade secret. We protect them in the best way that we can, but we have a very unique tech stack, and it's more than just the front end. It's the middle, and it's the back as well. We also do something called edge processing, which is quite unique. Edge processing is used in factories around the world, where you don't have to worry about climate and power. But when you get out on the roadway, it's a bit different. So Rekor had to develop the capability itself to do that, and that's part of what we do as well. And that limits our bandwidth constraint on our cost and our business model. So from there, we'll move on. So the market that we're in is huge. I mean, it's over $60 billion. It's made up of a number of legacy markets that include everything from license plate reading, and we are not a license plate reading company. We just happen to compete in that space. So everything we've done over the last 2 years is a means to an end to get to where we are, and you're going to see that a little later on coming up with the slide Rekor 1. But, video surveillance and parking management and, these markets are just huge. You can all have read about the number of cameras that are around the world, and it's growing, and using video analytics as the way to provide these solutions is the way that we think to go. So it's just a monstrous market, and we hope to, be a leader in taking advantage of it with intelligent roadways and smart cities. So from there, we can move on. These are some of the organizations that use our technology. So you can see, they include a mix of government and commercial entities. We do a lot of business in tolling, so Colorado E470, the Northwest Passage, was our first tolling customer. We do image processing for them, about 120 million images a year, and that's an automated system. We also have a couple of very large tolling customers in the U.S. that just now in 2021 have chosen us to be their primary image processor. So you can see that we play in all these different spaces. There's MasterCard. Vera Mobility is a reseller and channel partner of ours, and then Mount Juliet, Tennessee is a police department, and there's a nice mix here of commercial and governmental entities. So we have hundreds and hundreds of customers now, and over 80 countries. So go-to-market strategy, we spent all of 19 and 20 putting ourselves in a position to do this, and there's three legs to the stool. The first is our e-commerce platform. We had an e-commerce platform up and running in 2020, but we had to completely rebuild it so that it worked in foreign languages and currencies, and it had the right hooks in it for digital marketing. We did that, and even before doing that, we just had organic growth that put us on over $1 million run rate in 20, and we started our marketing campaigns early in 2021, and I think you'll see the results when the Q comes out. We've had some good success with it, and I think we have e-commerce customers in over 60 countries now. Our strategic partnerships are companies like MasterCard and Vera and Hyundai, and these things take time, but we always have a constant pipeline of transactions that we're working on with companies that are at different stages. So something may take a year, but we may be 9 months into it. So just keep on the lookout for what comes out. And last but not least, the reseller program that Rekor established in 2020 is now up and running. We entered the new year with about 12 resellers. I think now we're over 50 or 60. And it's a great way to develop a sales force without having to pay for it. And it also gives you the ability to operate internationally a lot easier. So that's how we're going to market, and the company's doing it now, and we're starting to scale, and we worked hard to get here. So, we're proud of it. So, it's pretty straightforward from here. But we can move on. So this is really what I want to talk to you folks about, because this is really what it's all about here. So Rekor has done a lot over the last couple, 2-3 years. Those of you that have followed the companies have seen some of the announcements, some of the contracts, some of the awards, and some of the different successes that we've had. So we have over 30 some odd different solutions, and we deliver them in a variety of different ways. From our e-commerce platform, selling software, with credit card, to putting in complex systems for public safety agencies and so forth. But while we were doing all that, we were working on developing Rekor One. And Rekor One is a single system that multiple missions, and this is really the beginning of intelligent roadways. And if you take a look on the right, you'll see that it's about infrastructure, public safety and revenue. And green initiatives. And that's an important thing today, because if you think about the pending infrastructure bill here in the U.S., there's going to be a lot of talk about green corridors and reduction of emissions and so on and so forth, congestion pricing. Well, some of that, can be done with legacy technologies. Others cannot. I mean, how do you measure emissions today, right? So government passes bills, and then they hope that, the private sector figures out a way to make it work. So we've done that at Rekor, and we've got a system that we can deploy. If you start at the bottom with revenue, our program in Oklahoma, which is our uninsured motor vehicle program, is revenue neutral. So what that gave us the ability to do was install a statewide system in Oklahoma at no cost to the state of Oklahoma. That also happens to be a very profitable program for Rekor, which now gives us the ability to talk to the state about all these other things. And we have a very strong government affairs group. We lobby. We have assets on the ground in multiple states. We're up on Capitol Hill. We're in touch with what's happening, and that's what this is all about. It's all about this platform, Rekor One, and that's what you're going to see roll out as we get deeper into 2021. And this is what it's all about, because this is the future. So with that, we can move on to the next slide. As I mentioned earlier, we have a number of different ways of protecting our IP. So we're constantly filing patents. We also use trade secrets, but where we think a patent's applicable, we do it. We file the number. So it's the best way that we can to protect everything that we have. And we've got, again, a very unique tech stack. Okay, it's more than just the front end. It's the whole, the whole thing. And and there are proprietary pieces of it all over the place, but it all works. And I can tell you that I cannot think of another company in this entire world that has the capabilities of Rekor under one roof that's domiciled here in the U.S. as well. So with that, we can move on. So privacy and security, big issues. You know, this is different than, there are two components here. One is the privacy issue, where folks think that things like vehicle recognition, you know, are invasive of privacy, and then you have the security and privacy on the other side related to your customers' data. We take both very seriously, so we use the best tools available to protect our data and our systems. And by the nature of the way we share, distribute data, we're not using data lakes, we're using new technology, we're using edge processing. It's very difficult to hack. And it also gives us the ability to create privacy filters on the data that we're ingesting. So our philosophy is that the data belongs to the customer. We just give them the tools to manage it so they can set their own retention policies, et cetera. But when we turn privacy filters on, which means that we obfuscate the signature of the vehicle. So as an example, for a green card, or we only need to know that it's an electric vehicle or a hybrid. We don't need to know what the plate is or the state. So that's an example of a privacy filter. So, you know, that's the two different components of this. It's important. We take it seriously. We're on top of it. We're CJIS compliant, which is the highest level of law enforcement compliance that you can get for, you know, companies and data of this nature. So I think we've done a good job with it over the last couple of years, and we try to stay ahead of it. With that, we can move on to the next slide. So we went out and we did an offering recently, actually earlier this year. And the reason for it was that we had already cleaned up our balance sheet and had sufficient cash on the balance sheet to operate the business. But, you know, we felt compelled, having looked at the competitive landscape over the last year or so, that there is a legacy industry out there that is very lethargic. You know, the companies that are public that are in it have traded little to no value, and if they're private, it's hard to tell, but I would assume the same. In any event, they control tons of real estate. So what is that? The things that, you know, maybe are involved with traffic controllers at intersections or things of that nature. So that can all be repurposed into a SaaS product using Rekor One. And, you know, I can't stress the importance of having access and power, okay, at your disposal on real estate and a customer. So, you know, we see an opportunity for consolidation, and we hope to be one of the consolidators. And we hope to emerge as one of the companies as a leader in the intelligent roadway and smart city sector that's about to get here. It's not here yet. And I know lots of companies use that, you know, that verbiage, but it's all a bit premature, but it's getting closer every day. So with that, we can move on to the next slide. And my colleague, Eyal, is going to walk you through our business model, some of the financial highlights, and then we'll do what we can to see if we have some time for some questions. So thank you, everybody. Eyal?
Great. Thank you very much, Robert. So our disruptive technology, as Robert mentioned before, also enable us to have diverse, highly leverageable revenue stream, as you can see in this slide on the left side of the slide. Our revenue is driven predominantly through subscriptions, allowing about 70% of our revenues to be recurring. Same technology also enables us to implement innovative pricing. This includes the implementation of transaction-based pricing that we have in our program, such as UVID and tolling. We only sell our hardware and bundle it along with our software products. This means that our subsequent revenues are either recognized over time as part of a bundle service contract, or the customer purchases the hardware outright and pay us a monthly subscription for the software. In the latter case, recognize revenues from the hardware purchase at the time of shipment. In addition, we sell some perpetual licenses, which have been mainly sold in specific international markets. On the right side here, you can see our 3 to 5 year operating model. We believe that once we break even, reach critical mass, and emerge from the rapid growth phase of the next few years, we'll still be growing over 30% organically in a few years from now. Our gross margin will continue to remain strong, given our software and service focus. Our hardware margins are also attractive to keep the overall margin at this level of 60 to 65%. We continue to increase our investment to take advantage of our near-term growth opportunities. As such, we forecast break-even at a quarterly run rate of revenues around $9 to $10 million a quarter. Here in this slide, there are some performance indicators that you can see. I think Robert mentioned some of them, a number of lanes that we cover. It shows significant growth for implementing our software and systems worldwide. The growth in our customer across the globe has significantly increased many facets of our businesses. The first two charts, you can see at the top, show dramatic growth in the number of cameras and lanes being covered by our system in both the government and commercial applications year over year. As our system will develop across numerous new customers, you can see an increase of more than 100% in the rate of vehicle signature reads at the bottom left here of this chart. And lastly, while there's been almost no marketing, the reach of our solution is evident with our e-commerce-based offering. As Robert mentioned, it's one leg of the stool for our revenues, which has been a robust growth in customers and geographic reach, and we anticipate seeing higher growth in number of customers and revenues moving forward. Here shows the revenues that we have in our latest Q. If you see, 2019 compared to 2020, significant growth year over year. And as we disclose our expected revenues, preliminary revenues for Q1 for $4.2 million, which has over 160% growth from Q1 of 2019. And here we have our highly experienced team. When I arrived in May 2019, we had 50 to 60 employees. These days we are close to 150, 160 employees with a strong leadership we have. The majority of our new hires have been in our engineering department, which we think is the future of the company and keep us in at the top of the AI industry. And we believe that the future begins in engineering, and we intend on keeping things this way. And with that, I will give back to Robert.
Thanks, Eyal. So just in summary, this is a great time to, discover Rekor. It's obviously, starting to get on the radar screens of some, fairly substantive institutions. That was a success of the offering that we printed at, I think, 12 and a quarter earlier this year. So people are starting to understand what this company's potential is. It's really a big data company if you think about it at the end of the day. And if you can just dismiss everything we've done over the last 2 years, although it's been positive, and think about the opportunity ahead and where we're going, you can understand, why these valuations are still low. We've got disruptive technology. The market is huge. We've got significant growth potential, a very attractive SaaS business model, and the company's at an inflection point. And I will point out that when we file the Q, this will be the first time that investors will be able to read a document and understand Rekor's business without the legacy stuff we had related to the non-core assets that we sold the last of in 2020. So with that, I think we've got at least, 7 or 8 minutes here for some questions. So we're going to open the Q&A up. So I'm taking a quick look here. And if there are any questions, you can put them in. I am looking for them. I don't know. Eyal, can you see? I don't see any questions here. Anybody got any questions? No questions. Okay. Well, look, folks, thanks for joining us. Thanks for looking at Rekor. I would encourage all of you shareholders and not follow this company. Okay. Follow this company. You're going to want to, because it's going to help you understand where other things are going as well, related to a whole bunch of different things that you may be investing in now, from AI and machine learning to the Internet of Things and so forth. But the world's a big place. It's filled with lots of roadways. and Rekor is sitting at the nexus of all that. So thanks for your time, and we appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you back here again at the next conference. So enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. This does conclude today's webcast. Thank you for your participation, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.